Hi everyone, welcome to our webinar. Today we are working with Bruce Clay and we've come together to show you guys our business bloopers, the AdWords edition. Larry, Kim, and David are going to take it away and we're going to talk about what is going on with AdWords and how people are messing it up. Like, there's so many ways that you could do such a great job using AdWords, and so we brought together our two experts to give us a broad overview on some of their faux pas that they see in the industry and some ideas on how you might improve. So on the line we have Larry Kim. Larry is the founder of WordStream, and David Szetela. David Szetela is the VP of Search Operations at Bruce Clay. I had the pleasure of meeting David at SMX last week. We went out, we had some tequila and some tacos and had a great time, so I'm happy to be working with you again this week, David. So so guys, so we want to learn a little bit about you as well. So I do have a poll, and we want to know how long you guys have been managing AdWords.
Oh, wow.
Is it less than a year? Is it 1 to 4 years? Is it 5+ years?
Hey, David. How long have you been doing this stuff, not to bias the results?
It's probably 13, 14 years.
Holy moly, that's a long time.
Yeah.
That's like much longer than me even. Whoa.
Wow, guys, it looks like 65% of the audience has been doing this less than a year.
Wow.
So we have some newbies on the line, so
Okay.
Hey.
I think we're tailored for that.
Yeah, right? Perfect. Nope. Hold on one second, guys. Sorry.
And David, I just wanted to thank you for taking the time to do this webinar with us because, obviously I think very highly of Bruce Clay, your company, and as well as yourself for everything that you're doing for the PPC community.
Oh, thanks, Larry. I really appreciate that. This is a great honor for me.
Yeah. Well, guys, we launched a poll, so I'm going to go ahead and let David get started and get us kicked off with these bloopers. Hope you enjoy them.
Okay, so I do a lot of audits. I do AdWords audits for potential clients and clients that we're onboarding. And I'm going to talk about the mistakes I see most frequently, like some of them 90–95% of the time. And the old-timers that are listening will say, well, this is rudimentary for some of these, but apparently 90 to 95% of the people that I encounter don't have that experience. So start really rudimentary. First thing we see is too many keywords per ad group. The ideal number, if you have to peg an ideal number, is 6 to 18. I included round numbers there because of the fact that we currently are only bidding on 2 types of match types, and that is modified broad match and exact. We'll go into that if you'd like later. The idea here is that you want to be able to create customized ads whereby the root words of the ad group appear in the ad, preferably in the headline. That's the way you get maximum click-through rate, best ad rank, and best quality score. So this has a direct effect on the average CPCs that you spend, and so it directly affects profitability. So ironically, this is one of the best ways to affect profitability on kind of the pre-site part of PPC, whereas after they get to the site, it's all up to the site. So cut down the number of keywords in your ad groups, create smaller ad groups out of one that's got very diverse keywords, and you will win. Next thing we see is too many ads per ad group. So I regularly see 4 or 5 ads in an ad group that is not accumulating conversions very quickly, impressions, clicks, and conversions. And all that does is guarantee a few things. Number one, if your idea is to test all of these ads against each other, it's going to take years to accumulate enough data to make decisions. Secondly, it guarantees that you're running losers. So if you're running 5 test ads and 4 of them underperform the best ad, then those 4 are losers. And what's the opposite of a unicorn? They're not unicorns, that's for sure.
A donkey. It's a donkey. It's kind of like the horse with with no unicorn thing.
There you go. Okay, got it. So I won't go into too much detail about how you judge the winners and the losers, but these are the 3 metrics that I use when judging which ads are outperforming others. Obviously, highest conversion rate is very good. It signals that the ad is performing well as far as stimulating conversions. Lowest cost per conversion is another metric, and usually the cost per conversion and the conversion rate are closely related. And then, of course, we look at the click-through rate as well. Larry, anything you have to say?
David, is the solution here just to delete all the junk? Like, is that what you're recommending? Because, don't you have to try out things first to see whether or not they are working, and then just right?
Yeah. Well, generally, there's enough data in the accounts I see to make a judgment on at least 3 or 4 of the ads. Let's say they're running 5. 3 or 4 ads might be paused because they're never going to get the higher click-through rate or higher conversion rate. So I just pause them. Sometimes I'll leave 2 running because there's not enough data to distinguish between those 2. But usually I just pause all the ones that are underperforming the top ad, and then write a test ad with some similarities to the highest performing ad to see if we can beat the metrics that we're seeing in that top ad. And when I say top, I mean top performing, not top of the page.
Awesome. Thanks.
Okay. This is a big one too. It really shocks me that the stigma against display advertising via the Google Display Network is still as strong as it was 5 years ago. And the mistakes I see in display campaigns for the Google Display Network are exactly the same ones that I saw 5, 6, 7 years ago. I think that too often advertisers take their search ad groups and just put them into a display campaign and just count on the keywords to send the ads to the right pages, and count on the ads to do a good job as it would on search. Well, number one, the ideal number for display keywords, if you're doing keyword targeting, is 4 to 6. They can be broad. Match type doesn't do anything with display, but 4 to 6 keywords is plenty to describe to Google, this is the type of site I would like my ads to appear on. If there are too many keywords, then the algorithm gets confused. And this is one of the main reasons that advertisers lose money on display advertising. The algorithm spreads ads all over the place to sites that are completely irrelevant to what you're trying to sell or get leads for, and you lose money because people will click. This is one of my cardinal rules that people don't believe. People will click on anything. So even if your ad appears on a completely irrelevant site, somebody's going to click on it and waste your spend because they're not going to convert. So my advice on this is use the display planner tool. It's gotten pretty much more accurate and consistent, and it always recommends a small number of keywords. So start there.
David, in the hierarchy of options of like different display advertising options, targeting, like managed placements, remarketing, customer match, like wouldn't you put keyword targeting, like in-market segments, all these things? Wouldn't keyword targeting kind of be the bottom of the barrel, like in terms of
Yes.
ROI? Okay. So like
Yeah.
wouldn't another blooper also just be like, using keyword targeting for display and instead, when you had other things available, like, I don't know, remarketing or customer lists or other, more targeted ways of targeting display ads?
Well, I couldn't agree with you more because that's actually an additional slide to this deck that I include when I do the longer version. So I go through the hierarchy of which targeting options work best and down to work least. And roughly speaking, since I opened it up, my favorite is custom affinity audiences, and then in-market audiences, and then affinity audiences. And kind of drawing up the rear are placement targeting and keyword targeting. Yeah.
Yep, agree totally. Awesome.
Okay. Okay. One of the first things I do when I do an audit is I look at the dimensions tab and then I look at user locations. And I'm serious, 9 times out of 10, I see many clicks from outside the geo-targeted location. If, for example, if a campaign is directed to the United States, you'll see clicks from Afghanistan, Iran, everywhere, literally. And the cause of this is something kind of blatantly money-grabbing on Google's side, and that is the default for geo-targeting under Location Options Advanced is show ads to people in or show interest in my targeted location. Well, this is kind of a lie in that that's not the behavior that Google exhibits. They actually spread your ads all over the place. And the cure for this is just tick the radio button that says people in my targeted location, and you'll get no more clicks from outside your geographic targeting. Let's talk about the search query tool, indispensable for finding positive and negative keywords. Unfortunately, the defaults, I really think you shouldn't accept the defaults, and in particular the match types of the default results that you get. So you see here, right to the left of Kramer, the box is ticked next to a couple of phrases, search queries, that I don't want my ad to appear for. So I'm going to add them as negative keywords. Okay. So it's SEO companies in Orange County, insurance agency, and marketing SEO. And by default, the negative keywords are put into exact match, and they're put into the ad group of each keyword, ad group level of each keyword. Almost always that's not what you want to do. You want to change the defaults, put them in at the campaign level of each keyword, and use a broad match version of the negative keywords that we've identified. So I don't want to just tell Google, sorry. Wow. There we go. I don't want to just tell Google, don't show my ad in that long version that contains Orange County. Let's just tell Google any search query that has the word orange in it, don't show my ads. Likewise, I don't sell insurance. I sell SEO services. So rather than use the exact match version of that long search term, I just want to use the broad match version of insurance. And you'll see that you exclude many, many more search queries that way than by accepting the default, which is exact match negative. Uh-oh. Oh, there we go. Okay, so almost always add the negatives at the campaign level, and almost always use broad match, and frequently a single word variation of the exact match phrase that Google has shown you. Okay, frequently the search query tool is used to add positive keywords. So scanning through the keyword list that we get when we choose to look at search terms, we see keywords that or search terms that we want to add as keywords. So a couple boxes ticked here, click on Add as Keyword, and for some maddening reason, Google automatically or defaults to broad match versions of these keywords. So if you do nothing and click Save, then you've got broad match keywords in your ad groups, and I don't think that's a good thing. We don't use broad match. We use broad match very, very rarely without modifiers. We more frequently use bid modifiers or broad match modified. So here's a sneaky way to counteract that. In other words, let's say you have just added a lot of keywords via the search query tool. They're all broad match. So here's what we do. Before adding the keywords to, let's say, an ad group or campaign, pull the whole account into AdWords Editor, do a Get Recent Changes, then go back into AdWords in the web interface, add the keywords, the positive keywords as broad, which is their default. Then back in AdWords Editor, Get Recent Changes again, and the added keywords, even if they're spread out across campaigns or ad groups, will appear highlighted in green, and you can just highlight them, all of them, kind of holding down Control-click or Shift-click, and you can, in one fell swoop, change all of the keywords to exact match. Okay, here's an easy one. I'm sure it mystifies a lot of advertisers. As I said earlier, frequently advertisers just take their search ad groups and put them into a display campaign, including the negative keywords. Well, there's a big problem with that because of the fact that negative keywords on the display network mean something or cause a very different action than negative keywords on search campaigns. They literally, negative keywords in display network campaigns literally tell Google, don't show my ad on any pages that contain any of these words. So you'll sometimes get how and some really short words that very likely appear on any page that could be legitimately targeted. Well, you get my point, and your imagination can fill in the rest. Just don't. The easiest fix is, and literally we do this 99% of the time, just delete the negative display keywords. I think I have to pass it to you, Larry.
Great, thanks. Well, Noel, can you just hand over the baton here?
Yeah, no problem. Sorry, we were clicking away, David, and we had to revoke Larry's click access here. Sorry, everyone.
That was
a little
me.
click happy.
That was me messing you up there, David. I realized it halfway through. Yeah. Yes, you probably thought your mouse was possessed.
Okay, from my hand.
Yes. So, guys, well, thanks for those bloopers. I'm going to just talk about my five favorite or kind of most infamous bloopers here. One of them has to do with not using conversion tracking. So, obviously, pay-per-click advertising it's pretty interesting because you can kind of track precisely or pretty close to precisely the effectiveness of your ad spend. But WordStream has access to like hundreds of thousands of accounts, and what I can tell you is that less than half of the accounts out there, half of the AdWords accounts there actually have conversion.
Really?
tracking on. I mean that might be surprising because David obviously he tends to work with larger, more sophisticated clients. But what you need to understand is that there's a lot of kind of millions of these unsophisticated, or I wouldn't say unsophisticated. I would just say kind of new to AdWords, still trying to figuring it out kind of thing. That's perfectly natural. But just haven't figured out everything, and it's hard, for like a small business owner with competing interests and things to do, to get all this Java code working on the website, from their perspective. You have to put up create different conversion goals. Like this is using there's two ways of doing this. You could use it to do AdWords conversion code or Google Analytics conversion code, but you basically have to create different conversion types for different things, and like this is kind of an ongoing process because maybe next week you create a new offer, so then you need a new conversion type, and you have to update the old landing pages, thank you pages, and like what happens if the guy who previously worked on it is now no longer with the company, or your brother-in-law is helping you out with the website. It's like it's hard, and so it's definitely rather than just beating you on the head saying install the conversion tracking code, like if this is like beyond the reach of your your website abilities, which is pretty common, more than half of the time that is the case. There is this cool feature called smart conversions. Now, smart conversions, it's not for everyone. I definitely don't think that you should use it if you're spending more than if you're spending thousands and thousands of dollars, like $10,000 or more, like then you should really take the time to use the complicated conversions. Smart conversions are kind of like a kind of TurboTax for conversions. Basically, it does conversion tracking without you having to do anything. So it's just looking at Google is just kind of analyzing like what people do when they click on your website using the existing Google Analytics tag, and can kind of figure out based on its own analysis of what people are doing on your site. We'll try to figure out whether or not like these were any good or not. Now, you might be skeptical and think like, how does Google know if this is a good click or not, and basically it's just looking at things like engagement rates, like if they bounce like after 1 second, then that's probably not a great click. If they whereas if they stay for 2 or 3 clicks and hit a thank you page, they can actually figure that out. Then that would be interesting. And we've done a lot of research onto this across thousands of clients, and I can tell you there's a really strong correlation between engagement rates and conversion rates. So it's I think it's better than nothing. If it's complicated to set this stuff up, this is kind of like a happy intermediary, like this new feature, Smart Goals, that doesn't require any coding. Like maybe you don't control your landing pages or something like that, which happens all the time. You could try this instead. David, any thoughts on Smart Goals?
I'm curious about what you do with the 50% that aren't conversion tracking. Do you switch to Smart Goals? Do you force them to, well, you can't force them, and some are not capable to implement the AdWords tracking code, or do you routinely create analytics goals?
So we have a full-time person here whose job is just assisting customers with their conversion codes. It's that complicated. Like everyone has a different setup. If that fails, so like even among our customer base, it's not 100%. Like it's something like 2/3 of the customers have conversion tracking turned on. The 1/3, it's just beyond their capabilities. By the way, we focus WordStream as opposed to Bruce Clay. I think we focus kind of more on the smaller and medium-sized businesses, whereas I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Bruce Clay tends to focus on larger PPC accounts. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
So basically, if we're not able to assist them, then yeah, we'll just it's usually the case that these websites have Google Analytics turned on. Like if you're using WordPress or something, it's like very easy to have analytics turned on. So we can just use that. So that's what we'll do. I didn't want to spend too much time on smart goals because it's kind of just like a setting that you turn on. It's not that sophisticated. And I wanted to just talk a little bit about the importance of quality, because I'm kind of obsessed about quality score. I personally think that it is people can disagree, but I personally think one of the biggest blunders is just running ads on junk keywords. I'm kind of a nut when it comes to this notion of quality score, a little bit out there, I want to believe, but basically, quality score, it's kind of like Santa Claus, he knows if you're good or bad. So they give you a score for your keywords on a score from 1 to 10. 10 is awesome and 1 is terrible, and basically, if people are clicking on your ads like crazy, then you're going to have a 10 out of 10, and if people are like ignoring your ads and nobody is clicking on them when they're shown, then you'll get like a 1 out of 10. And so it's my contention that you should try to maximize these quality scores, and I think that they're very important. I just wanted to see if I can convince some of you here. One of the metrics that quality score impacts, the quality score of your keywords impacts, is whether or not those ads are shown or not. And so what I can tell you is that on desktop, for every increase or decrease of 1 point in quality score, the likelihood that ad will actually show up when people are searching on the keywords that you're interested in will increase or decrease by 9%. So I guess the point I'm making here is that if the quality of the ads and keywords that you're bidding on is so low, then it's almost like you're not advertising at all, because there's less than a 30% chance that those ads will show up. So that's a pretty big reason. We also find that there's a huge impact on cost per click. So obviously, actually this is a little out of date. The Google benchmark is more like 6 out of 10. But basically, you can get discounts on cost per clicks, which can be very, very high in certain industries. Up to 50% discounts from average if you have highly relevant ads, and up to 400% penalties if you have kind of really crappy keywords and ads that no one is clicking on. And so when you factor in the fact that, like, A, these ads aren't even showing if the quality is bad, and B, the cost per click is ridiculously high or low, depending on the quality, it actually has a tremendous impact on cost per conversion. So, for every, when we look at billions of dollars of ad spend and just try to figure out, how quality score impacts cost per conversion, we see that, in general, for every increase or decrease of 1 point in quality score, you'll typically see an increase or decrease of 16% in your cost per action, regardless of what company you're working for. Like, whatever you're selling, that's kind of an average. So I think it's actually pretty important. A lot of people think that it's not possible to get high quality scores for a particular industry. And basically, I'm just saying that the whole notion of quality score is just a relative comparison. There's going to be 100 advertisers, just say, and if you have a quality score of 6, then you're roughly in the 6th decile, that you're kind of right in the middle there. Whereas if you're 10 out of 10, then you're in the top decile. So it's just a relative ranking, and so all you need to do is kind of beat the average click-through rate for the keywords and ads that you're interested in, and it's certainly possible to do this. I have this notion of donkeys versus unicorns. Basically, I think that if your ads are very, very bad, bottom 50% kind of low quality scores, 1, 2, 3, 4. I call those donkeys. And what we found is that when we look at a lot of ads, it's possible to do really, really great ad text and keyword selection to get the click-through rate, 2, 3, or even 6 times higher than the average. And that's I call those unicorns because they're such rare and beautiful creatures, and that's what we should be striving for. So I don't know, David. Any thoughts on this quality score, or are we like not on the same page here? You might have your mute on. I don't know.
No. I'm back. Hey, I don't know if you mentioned this already, but would you say that all of this quality score and the importance of click-through rate is even more important now that the ads are removed from the right rail?
Yeah, because one of the whole issues, like previously, well, yeah, you know this, David. Like previously, the top 3 ad spots were reserved for ads with a certain quality threshold. So now, and the positions like on the right rail where it's kind of like a dumping ground for all the other ads that didn't quite meet the high quality requirements. Mm-hmm. And so I think if we were to redo the research, it's quite possible that the likelihood of ads showing up based on the quality score might even be more profound. That poorly, I think I showed, a 9% increase or decrease in impression share for every increase or decrease of 1 point in quality score. That might even be more important.
Gotcha.
But great point. They're eliminating the low quality stuff, and so you need to have high quality ads to show up. All right, so I want to talk a little bit about dynamic keyword insertion. This is just like a very popular ad creation tool for kind of parroting back whatever it is that the user was searching for. I'm sure you've seen these things where you search for purple umbrellas, and then the ad says purple umbrellas, and so you think like, oh, that's exactly what I was looking for, and you click on it. So that's dynamic keyword insertion. Google is just inserting the search query into the headline or description of the ads, and kind of mirroring that back. And so we did some kind of analysis on a couple of hundreds of thousands of ads, trying to figure out, in terms of like ads that are unicorns, so ads that are beating the averages, like top 10%, top 5%, or even the very top 1% of ads. And we wanted to see, like, are these ads with like 6 times the average click-through rate, do they use dynamic keyword insertion or not? And basically what I can tell you is that dynamic keyword insertion is a fantastic tool to get kind of upper middle class, if you will. Like if you're just trying to get to like the quality score 7s or 6s or 8s, then that is a really fantastic tool because they do above average performance, and that's probably why Google uses them so extensively. However, if you're trying to be like in the top 5% or top 1% of ads, the ones that have 5 or 6 times the click-through rates versus the average, well then our analysis says that dynamic keyword insertions, it doesn't produce unicorns. It just produces kind of above average donkeys, but not or near unicorns, but not true unicorns. So here's the data. As you can see, like especially as you get to the top 5 and top 1% of ads, then these ads are typically relying more on kind of like unique selling propositions or killer offers or emotional triggers, that kind of stuff in your ads. And so here's just some funny, this is dynamic keyword insertion run amok. eBay is very infamous for using dynamic keyword insertion to basically carpet bomb every possible, keyword in the world, in the universe. So we're definitely not suggesting that you do something like this. Oops. So instead, so what should you be doing? I want to talk a little bit of this thing called the Adwords Jackpot. Okay, so Adwords Jackpot is not an official term. If you've never heard of it, don't worry. That's something I made up. Adwords Jackpot is kind of where you do a search for something, and because everyone else is using dynamic keyword insertion, like all the competing companies here are using dynamic keyword insertion, the ads, they all look the same, and that kind of reminds me of a jackpot in Vegas where you hit a row of lucky sevens. Like I just hit a row of Boston divorce lawyers, 7 in a row. So that's why I call it a jackpot. It's also a jackpot because it's an opportunity to differentiate yourself from the rest. And so basically what I'm suggesting here is that what you do is you just how do you fix this? Well, I have created this interesting unicorn detector. It's a really easy kind of way for you to make your own unicorns, and basically it relies on leveraging emotional triggers. So the most powerful way to go from a donkey to a unicorn in your ads, it's to leverage these different emotions like fear, laughter, anger, empathy, surprise, and I wanted to give you an example of these different voices that you can use, like different personas that you can use for your ad copy. So here's an actual customer of ours. The basic one, it's just written kind of in a neutral tone. It's like very matter of fact. Breast cancer screening with early adoption or early detection survival rate is 100%. Book an appointment today. And the second leverages kind of the emotional triggers of fear and love and concern. And so it says breast cancer screening. Only 15% of women live 5 years with late detection get screened. So if you think of the intent of someone searching for these things, they might be worried about something, and which of these two ads is more likely to encourage taking action? And the answer is the one with the emotional trigger. It's like by a country mile. It's like not only is it generating like 5 times higher click-through rates, it's also increasing calls. So these emotional triggers also impact the conversion rates after people click on the ads or if they call your business. So try it out. It's just trying to think of the thing that you're selling in terms of like what are people's fears, or what do they love, what do they hate, who's their best friend, who's their enemies, this kind of thing, and then just trying to come up with the same or a similar offer. But like both of those ads were basically saying something similar, but just from a different perspective, different emotion, and that is very, very, very powerful. Any thoughts on emotional triggers and instant unicorns here, David?
I'm totally in awe of what you just said.
Oh, great. Thanks. Your stuff was pretty good too. So we're almost at the end of this thing here. I want to talk a little bit about display advertising and kind of a missed opportunity, and that is that even though display advertising offers such a fantastic opportunity to showcase kind of visually, make an impression on people in terms of your brand and your product offerings. The vast majority, something like 67% of display ads on the Google Display Network, 67.5% of them are not display images. They're actually text. And so that's kind of annoying because there's, I'm kind of the quality score nut, and basically there's this quality score in Google Display Network, okay? So they don't tell anyone, and it's not something that you can look up. It's not in the documentation anywhere, but what I can tell you is that when we look at the click-through rates of display ads and compare them to the cost per click, there's a huge 20% increase or decrease for every 0.1 increase and decrease in click-through rate, and that makes sense because they want to show display ads that are actually being clicked on because it's a cost per click network. So duh, but they don't tell you how big the penalties are or how huge the discounts are. And so basically, the hack here is just well, how are we going to raise these click-through rates so that we get these ridiculously cheap clicks on the Google Display Network? And here's like 3 doors. Door number 1, 2, and 3. One is kind of like, it's not even an image. It's just a text ad masquerading as a square image ad. And the other 2 have saturated colors, and logos that are familiar. Which is likely to get clicked on more? Any thoughts, David, or which will be the loser?
Yeah, let's see. I'm going to guess the text ad is the loser.
Yeah, good guess. So just what's so funny about this, or sad about this, is that 67.5% of the ads on the Google Display Network are actually door number 1. So just to give you kind of an example of how big that tax is of not creating image ads, I just looked at a couple hundreds of thousands of text ads versus image ads in the Google Display Network, and just tried to figure out, okay, well, how much are you paying for clicks if they're text, and how much are you paying if they're images? And there's a massive, 4.5 times difference. So it's kind of that's a huge tax. So big. I know that there's a little bit of effort involved with creating these image ads, but if you do it, it's definitely worth it. How can you, beyond beyond just creating image ads, there's a couple other tricks that you can do to dramatically increase the click-through rates. One is just looking at kind of this is called a conversion path analysis. So you're looking at what are the pages that people looked at prior to becoming a converted customer or lead, and then if you do a retargeting campaign just to those kind of high-value pages, that would be very interesting, because those are the people who are more likely to convert, and therefore, if you remarketed to these people, that would raise the click-through rate, and then. Just showing here, you got to diversify your ad formats into the different types of, squares and rectangles and leaderboards, etc. Because there's so many different types of things, and basically there's these image ads, back to image ads. There's this tool in Google AdWords for creating display ads. It's so easy. You just create these ads, and you just point them to your website, and it'll download your colors and your logos and your calls to action. And so these are just, Google did this by themselves, and so I can kind of then customize this, and it's not perfect, but it's still better than text. It's not as great as what a professional designer could do, but for 2 minutes of work, it's kind of a good return. All right, so just wanted to. Oh yes, and of course another crazy hack for getting the higher click-through rates is, of course, using those same emotional triggers that you could use in your text ads. They also work even better in display ads. We're kind of running short on time here, so I'm going to be just going faster through these here. A huge challenge is the focus on mobile, and it's kind of a thing. If you haven't heard of it, then you've obviously, I don't know what the heck, where you've been stranded. But basically, one of the challenges on mobile, it's like fewer ad spots. So the impression share, you remember that thing I was saying about your likelihood of showing up, it's like twice as competitive on mobile, because of there's only typically two or three ad spots on the entire page, and also there's this cool call button, and so one of the neat little things that we like to do is for small businesses that rely on getting the phone to ring, is to just have people is to force the people who click on the ads to call the business. So even if they don't click on the headline, or if they don't click on the call button, if they click on the headline, you can make it so that it just pops up a call button like this. And then the reason why we recommend this often is just because calls, that's kind of a really strong indicator of commercial intent. Like, you think of your own behavior, you're only going to talk to people if you're ready to buy. So we think that those are more valuable, and it's more immediate. So that's kind of urgency kind of thing. That's commercial intent. Try it out. There's also some mobile ad formats that they're not available worldwide, but they may be available in your region. These are betas, but like shopping, this is called local inventory ads. So like if someone searches for like a washing machine, it not only it gives the ratings and the images, but it also tells you where you can get one nearby. That's kind of interesting. And they have these formats for pretty much every vertical imaginable, like hotels with click to book and ratings information, or cars, with directions to the dealers, and Google ability to get credit cards online or insurance, etc. And mortgages. So the point is just Noel just put this in here. Thanks, Noel. We're trying to be remarkable with these ads and stick out in the crowd and not be a donkey. So hopefully you can use some of these tips and tricks that we were talking about today in terms of the ad copy to be a unicorn among a sea of donkeys. All right, so I think that was my last one. Noel, do you want to?
Yeah, definitely. So, wow, guys, some awesome bloopers. And sorry about that, I was on speakerphone. We appreciate both of your time today, and just wanted to have a few offers for the audience. I'm going to launch those now. If you guys want to opt in, as we're getting some questions ready to ask the audience. If you wanted to opt in, we're offering a free 1-hour AdWords consultation. We're also offering a PDF copy of David's book. So if you're interested in either one or both of these offers, feel free to opt in, and just give me 1 second here. I'm gonna grab a question. So guys, one of our members wants to know how paused accounts can impact your overall quality score for your campaigns. Does that have an impact, or what is your guys' thoughts on that?
I don't think it makes no difference. If they're paused, it's the same as deleting. It's just for historical record keeping.
I agree with Larry wholeheartedly.
Great. Okay, awesome. And then our next question is, how do you guys apply emotional triggers or copy strategies for a B2B business? Do you have any specific tactics that work best for B2B?
Sure. I mean, basically, the way I suggest starting is imagine how the person reading the ad will feel after taking advantage of your offer. In other words, what will it get them? A lot of emotional triggers are kind of zero in on the workplace or what the reader wants to achieve in the workplace. So, for example, claiming that making the right decision leads to a raise, making the wrong decision leads to something much worse. There's always something, I believe.
Yeah, that's he's using fear and awe, basically. Like, right. It's not. So in AdWords, WordStream does a lot of advertising, and we're a B2B company, and one of the strongest fears, I'll just share this, for advertisers is the fear of that they're wasting their money. That seems to be the emotional trigger that works the strongest for us. No matter the B2B space, there's always got to be some kind of a pain that makes people cringe, and that's where you should be focusing on.
Yep.
Awesome, thanks for that, guys. Okay, so this question is geared towards David. David, you mentioned that you would never use broad match for search campaigns. Do you have any exceptions to this, or is it fine to use broad match and insert a lot of negatives and make it relevant?
It's fine to use broad match when the offer by nature is attractive to a lot of people of diverse backgrounds and interests and behaviors. So, for example, the one that comes to mind is a sweepstakes company. They're really just a lead gen, B2C lead gen company, and the conversion rate was over 50%, and the click-through rate was 35%, and we're after warm bodies in that case. So in any situation where you really want every possible respondent to the ad would be appropriate for a broad match.
And Larry, do you have any comments on that?
I love broad match if if it's very hard to get clicks, and also, yeah, that's basically the only one. Like if you can't get clicks, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Thanks for that, guys. And then my last question I'll have from the audience is, are there any other specific campaign structuring tactics you guys see for mobile versus desktop outside of just some of the ad formats you showed today, like maybe landing pages or, from a CRO perspective, some tactics that would be good for mobile, guys?
Well, campaign structure, I don't really see being different from search to, or from desktop search to mobile search. Certainly the ads should be different. I think Larry has spoken about this as well. The ads should make sure that lines are not truncated. I see that really, really frequently, that the same ads are appearing on desktop and mobile, and when they appear on mobile, the lines are truncated, and that's not good if you're trying to deliver a particular message. Also, ad extensions are much more important on mobile. Well, not much more, but they are more important on mobile because used properly and used completely, you will actually crowd out the competitors on the search results page. In other words, top position will have so many lines in it that there won't be room for another ad.
Yeah, I have just a couple ideas here. There's mobile bid adjustments, so like you can bid mobile up and down, and I would argue that often, if your business is based on getting the phone to ring, that you might consider those to be more valuable. I do. So you could bid up and down a little bit based on the value of those calls. There's interesting things you can do with geo targeting. So like if you say you wanted to target mobile calls, I don't know, say you're a rental car agency, maybe you target people who are like around Terminal 1 or 2 arrivals level, because chances are if someone's looking for a rental car from that location, there's a very, very high chance that they're going to actually go through with a high conversion rate or something like that. Or maybe it's like you're Amazon and you're targeting like Best Buy locations, like within half a mile around the Best Buy store, because that there's a lot of comparisons shopping that happens when people visit retail stores. So plenty of sneaky things you can do with mobile, based on kind of the location, based on bid adjustments. It's not just the ad copy stuff and the extensions that we were previously talking about.
Awesome, great guys. Well, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. I want to give a big thank you to David from Bruce Clay and Larry for sticking around and giving us some awesome tactics today. Guys, any final comments to the audience?
Just thanks so much, David. It's great to have you here, and we should do this again.
Yeah, certainly. Thank you, Larry and Noel and Becca. And thank you to the audience for hanging out with us.
Awesome.
Awesome. Well, guys, we'll see you again soon. Thanks for attending, and have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.